Hey everybody, I'm Brian with Aromacup.com. Thanks as always for joining me here, my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com. I've got a review for you today of the Bodum electric French press coffee maker. This is coming from the Bodum line, sort of a new line of products from Bodum. We've talked about a lot of their stuff here on Aromacup.com. Really like everything they make. And this is no exception. Really enjoy this unit, so we're going to dive in, talk about it, make some coffee, and show you what's in the box, of course. Let's dive in, talk about the Bodum electric French press coffee maker. Let's start with what's in the box. Very, very simple. You've got the main brewing unit itself, which is pretty compact. It fit on my countertop really easy. You have your plunger and filter, which I like to keep kind of parked right up here, which I do believe is where it's supposed to go because it's just about the same size as the plunger. You have your water tank, which is attached to the unit, but you can remove that if you need to clean it. And then you have your carafe, which slides in, locks in, and has this small lid. And then, of course, you get your instructions with the unit. You get a little manual about the Bodum line itself, and you have your operating manual, which is really thick, but that's because it covers a lot of different languages. The operation of this unit is really simple, and let's talk about that right now. The Bodum electric French press features the ability to brew up to 17 ounces of coffee, which works out to about 4 cups. You're going to notice on the water tank that you have these small hash marks, and they tell you how many cups of coffee you're making, and that goes from 1 cup up to the max fill line. So if you don't need to make a lot of coffee, you can brew really quickly using the built-in water tank. If you need to brew for yourself and maybe 2 other people in the house, something like that, fill it to the max and start brewing from there. The carafe is, of course, it's made of glass. It's not plastic, which is great. The outer is plastic, the handle and everything like that, but it deals with heat really well. I've never seen it melt or anything like that. Now, of course, the biggest feature of this unit, when you really come right down to it, is that it handles the brewing of the coffee and the boiling of the water all in one step for you. So we've talked about French press a lot here on Aromacup.com. It's really one of the, if not, I think the best way to get the best cup of coffee in your own at-home coffee shop, but it usually requires that you boil water separately, pour it into your carafe, wait. So the whole purpose here is to speed up the process of getting French press coffee in order to give you that great French press taste, but without having to do kind of all the rigmarole that comes with making French press coffee. So let's talk about the operation of the machine. It's really simple, and that's something that I really like about it, because one of the things that often kept me from making French press coffee was that I had to boil water and put coffee grounds in the carafe and all these kinds of things, but that's all been streamlined now by Bodum. Real easy to use. This lid is what you're going to use as you're brewing your coffee, and your first step is going to be to add water to the machine. Now that's done using this flip-up door on the top of it. You can also take the tank out and fill it, but I wouldn't really suggest that because you have to push the tank down onto the machine, and that might be hard if it's full of water. Take some water, cold water. Don't start with hot. You want to use cold water. Bodum is very specific about that. And then fill this up to your desired amount of coffee. I'm going to go for about 3 cups. Now, of course, you can go higher than that or lower, just depending on what it is that you want in your cup of coffee. So now that you've added your water, we're going to close that lid, and then you're going to make use of some coarse ground coffee. Now, we say this a lot here on Aromacup.com. You want to use coarse ground coffee for French press, and the reason for that is you don't want coffee grounds in your final beverage. So use some coarse ground coffee, and usually the suggestion is about a tablespoon per cup of coffee that you're going to make. We're using a Bodum coffee scoop right now, actually, that is about 7 grams. And so we're going to go for about 3 of these. That might actually be a little strong, but again, you can adjust this based on how strong you like your coffee to be. Now, this lid has 2 slots on either end, and they match up with the slots on top of the pitcher. The larger one is going to go towards the front of the pitcher. So you just need to sort of press this on and then take this and slide it in. Now all you have to do is press this button right here in the center between your water tank and your carafe. Now it's going to glow blue, and that means that it's going to start boiling your water. Now it moves very quickly. Usually we say that you need about 4 minutes to brew your coffee if you're making French press. And that means that that's after you've boiled your water. So what I found is that that amount of time is certainly cut down with this machine because it's going to boil the water, transfer it up and down here on top of your coffee grounds. And steam is going to come out of here, and you're going to really hear this thing going when it gets going. I've noticed I can hear it kind of across my house, but I just know that it's doing its job at that point. But you can see it's already getting going, and it's getting that water hot. So you don't usually have to wait as long for a cup of French press coffee, I found, when you're making use of this unit, because you can just let it brew and then pull that carafe out and you're ready to go. So we're going to let this finish its job, and then we'll pull out the carafe and show you what the final product looks like. All right, the Bistro electronic French press is done doing its job. It's brewed, it's boiled all of our water and therefore brewed our coffee. It took about 4 minutes. We just timed it, about 4 minutes for 3 cups of coffee. So that's about what we usually recommend you leave your coffee sitting with the hot water over your grounds in order to get a good cup of coffee out of a French press. So we figure you're shaving off about 3 or so minutes because you don't have to boil that water. It's all done in one step. So when it's done, you can take that carafe out and be real careful because it does get really hot. And speaking of hot, we're going to see how hot the water is in this coming out of this machine right now. So let's use our trusty thermometer and find out where we're at. 172, give or take. So that's definitely more than hot enough to give you a nice hot cup of coffee. And of course, if you use this machine multiple times in a row, that'll probably be a little hotter, but I think that's about all you need. Now, speaking of the flavor of the coffee, depending on if you want to be able to get a stronger cup of coffee, you can stir the coffee that you get out of this. Now, that's going to depend. I found that I really didn't have to stir my coffee grounds at all after I had brewed using the Bistro machine. But if you want to get a little bit stronger brew, just grab a wooden spoon, preferably wooden because metal will scratch the glass. Give that a little bit of a stir just to get those grounds stirred up and moving around. And now you're going to take your filter plunger, place it on top of the carafe, just kind of slide it down. It clicks into place so it's not going to fall off, which is great. And then just press that plunger down. So that stops the brewing. It keeps all of those coffee grounds from getting into your coffee. Now you can just simply pour by using, there's a small lever right here, and this will keep the coffee from coming out until you press on that. And there's your cup of coffee. The operation is very easy, and again, depending on the strength of the coffee that you want, you may want to stir your grounds, you may want to just add that plunger, push it down, and then pour your coffee right out. I really do have to say that the quality of the coffee has been great. That's all going to depend as well, of course, on the type of grounds that you happen to be using. But the speed of this machine is definitely pretty impressive. The ease is really nice. I found that I liked to fill up the carafe with coffee grounds and fill the water tank the night before I went to sleep. And then I would wake up and I could just simply press the power button, walk away for about 4 minutes, give or take, come back, and I had a carafe of coffee ready to go. So that I really love. I love the quick, easy way of being able to make French press coffee using the Bistro machine because I don't have to boil water separately. Let's talk about the cost on the Bodum Bistro electric French press coffee maker. You're looking at about 60 bucks, which I think is pretty great because, again, French press gives you some of the best possible coffee, if not the best possible beverage that you can get out of a coffee machine. So about 60 bucks. You want to find out where you can get this machine, click the link in the description here on our video. We'll tell you more about how you can add this to your own at-home coffee shop. Quick bottom line on this machine, really quick, very simple and easy to use. Lets you brew your coffee very quickly and get that flavor of a French press. Other cool thing is you could do tea. You could add loose tea, or I suppose even bagged tea, but loose tea is really going to give you the best flavor to your carafe, and then boil that water into it and get that quick and easy way of making French press coffee or tea and not have to use 2 separate machines to boil water and then make your French press and so on and so forth. So very easy to use, quick, simple, and for about 60 bucks, not too bad to add to your own at-home coffee shop. So there you go, guys. That's an overview and a review of the Bodum Bistro electric French press coffee machine. I hope you found it useful. As always, please make sure to subscribe to us here on Aromacup.com, like our videos, join us on Aromacup.com, and talk to us about coffee. We are always happy to help you to demystify the world of coffee. That's what we do best here at Aromacup.com. I'm Brian. I want to thank you guys as always for joining me in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com and remind you to enjoy your cup. I'll see you next time and take care.